What's up, everybody? Welcome to Muscle Car Central. I am your host, Justin, from the YouTube channel Horsepower Obsessed. And today we're starting a new series called Test Drive Tuesday, which is going to be a series of videos of me test driving certain cars to try to find the perfect muscle car for me to own on this channel. So let's get right into the first one right now. All right, guys, so we are going to jump right into it. Like I said, this is a 2014 Camaro SS with some mods, and this comes to us thanks to our friends over at Blackout Tinning. So if you guys are familiar with the Horsepower Obsessed YouTube channel, you'll know I am here fairly often and that they do absolutely fantastic work. This is obviously one of the cars from the guys who do paint protection here at Blackout Tinning. As you can see, it has a satin finish wrap on it, so that is one of the most obvious mods to this particular car. But like I said, this is a 2014 Camaro SS with a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated engine. But the biggest reason I wanted to start off the Test Drive Tuesday with this car is because this is also a manual, and we're going to get a little bit more into it later. But I used to have a 5th generation Camaro ZL1, and these things still kind of have my heart. So moving on to the other mods, we also have Camaro ZL1 replica wheels with some Continental tires. Now Aaron also put some cross-drilled slotted rotors on here, as well as painted the calipers red. He also has a front lip added on here. This was not stock. He added this after the fact, and it really helps give the Camaro some depth in the front end. And then also he added the Camaro Z28 wing to the back. So the normal ZL1 wing is a little bit lower sitting than this. This one gives it a little bit more depth with the Z28. Obviously, right down below that, he has an aftermarket set of LED taillights that look pretty reminiscent of the C8 Corvette taillights. Now, the rest of the mods are actually under the hood, so let's go ahead and pop the hood and take a look at what makes this monster breathe fire. Okay, so here we go. Right off the bat, we have long tube headers, a cold air intake, and I know he also has an aftermarket tune on this car. So other than that, there's not a whole lot different to this particular car outside of what you would get stock. But with the tune and everything else you can see here, he is putting down 430 horsepower to the actual wheels on a dyno. Now, obviously, 430 horsepower is pretty respectable for a car that was made in 2014. Nowadays, you can kind of buy certain Hellcats and things like that with over 700 from factory, so it's not necessarily the most horsepower you guys have ever seen, I'm sure. But like I said, this car holds a special place in my heart because of the fact that I used to have a 5th generation ZL1 and the fact that this thing sounds absolutely phenomenal. So the next thing is, guys, we're going to jump in, take the car for a ride, and kind of talk about why we're doing the Test Drive Tuesday, and also we're going to get a feel for the car. Now, the interior is basically your typical 5th generation Camaro. This is the SS, like I said, so it gets a couple different appointments, but at the end of the day, it looks very similar to most of the 5th generation interior. Pretty much straight out of any 5th generation's book. We get some leather wrapping up on the dashboard and a leather wrapped steering wheel, which is actually really nice fitting in the hand, bolstered very appropriately, and maintains that muscle car feel. Now, the part that really starts screaming muscle car is right here. Yes, this is a 6-speed manual transmission car paired to that big 6.2 liter V8. It is definitely a blast to drive. Now, as you can see here, guys, Aaron is the owner. He is obviously a supporter of the Horsepower Obsessed channel, and I can't thank him enough for being such a good friend. If we come back to center console a little bit, we have the leather wrapped center console lid. Of course, this is where your arm will be spending most of its time while you're shifting. And then of course we have an all but unusable rear seat. As you can see here, there is not much room between the rear seat and the back of the front seat, so you're really not going to be putting many people back there, but it is a muscle car. It's not necessarily a family car. So let's go ahead, jump into it, and get out on the road. So basically what we're going to try to accomplish today is a test drive. So as the series name implies, we are test driving a new muscle car every Tuesday. What we're trying to do here is actually get a muscle car for the channel, so I, as your host, can have a car to do some reviews on, some maintenance items and ultimately some installs. So in order to do this efficiently, we want to have a muscle car. And as you can hear, this thing sounds the part, it looks the part, it is a muscle car. And like I said, I used to have a 5th generation 2014 Camaro ZL1, and I absolutely loved that freaking car. Now, the reason that matters is because this channel obviously has a lot of history with a 5th generation Camaro, and so do I. So I would absolutely love to get another one, and this was the first one that came to mind whenever I started thinking about getting back into a 5th generation Camaro. So as you guys can see, it is absolutely perfection. I mean, listen to this thing roar. And that's with the windows up. If we put the windows down, you're gonna hear the roaring of this thing even more. And like I said, guys, the Camaro is such an awesome car to begin with. The 5th generation just has a special place in my heart though. So ultimately, this is a really, really well-running car. It has the majority of the factory parts intact, other than, of course, the long tube headers, giving the engine an even better fire-breathing personality. So other than traffic, this thing is a blast to drive already. I can immediately remember what it was like to drive my 5th gen. Very, very limited visibility out the windows because this thing's cut like a tank, but at the same time, an absolute blast to drive. Definitely purrs. I'm gonna crack a window here so you guys can hear the exhaust a little bit better. She makes all the right noises, that's for sure. I can tell you one thing without a doubt, if I end up getting a 5th generation Camaro, it's definitely going to have a set of long tube headers on it. Guys, I absolutely miss the 5th gens. They're such fun cars. And this thing maintains its composure through turns a lot better than you would think a 4,000-pound muscle car would. Feels very light, almost too light, but this, you guys got to remember also, the SS did not have the adjustable suspension the way the ZL1 does, so the steering is not something that is adjustable in this particular car. But yeah, even with the windows up, guys, you can still hear the exhaust pretty nicely, but it's not overpowering, it's not overbearing. It could be a really nice, almost daily driving car. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's Test Drive Tuesday. What did you think of the 2014 Camaro SS? Like I said, it is a worker here at Blackout Tinting that owns it, and it has been an absolute blast to get back into a 5th generation. But please let me know what you guys think down below. I think this is one of the nicest looking SSs I have seen, and I partially think it's because of the stealth wrap. It really makes this black car just look so much more menacing. I love it. So anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below if this is something I should look a little bit more into or not. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you liked what you saw, please leave a big thumbs up on this video so we can continue to make these Test Drive Tuesday videos for you guys. I think it's going to start to get really interesting when we start heading to dealerships and looking at some of the newer cars. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for next week's Test Drive Tuesday because I have another really, really interesting car coming up for you guys. It is a big V8. You guys are not going to want to miss it. So I think this car is set up very nicely. Aaron has done a fantastic job with this particular one, and yeah, I mean, I could definitely see this being the next car on the channel. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below.